Good morning and welcome to Coffee and a Hymn. Settle in for a moment, get a cup of coffee. We'll be talking about the hymn, How Great Thou Art.
Before the noise, before the day, let an old hymn lead the way. Coffee warm and truth within. That's how mornings should begin.
The hymn began in 1885 when Carl Boberg, a Swedish pastor and poet, wrote the verses to a poem after a sudden violent thunderstorm in Sweden, where he lived. And then the sun came out afterwards, and he reflected on the beauty of the after the thunderstorm and the power of the thunderstorm during the thunderstorm. And he wrote a poem focusing basically on Psalm 8.
Psalm 83:4. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place. What is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you care for him?
The hymn traveled from Sweden to Germany, then to Russia. And in Russia, parts of the poem, it's 9 stanzas long, were set to music, a Russian folk tune that was named O Stor Gud, which is O Great God, which was the name of Boberg's original work. There was a missionary there at the time named Stuart K. Hine. And Hine heard the Russian Ukrainian miners singing this hymn. So he learned it from them, the tune, which is the same tune we use today. And he used the poem and that hymn to write his own lyrics, the 4 verses that we know today. The first and second verse he wrote in the Carpathian Mountains, where he heard the Russians singing it, verse 1 and 2. And then verse 3, he wrote in a village while doing missionary work and seeing a lot of conversions. And then verse 4, he wrote in England post-World War II from bombing and all the refugees that moved to England. Verses 1 and 2 were based loosely Carl Boberg's original Swedish poem. Verses 3 and 4 are totally original to Hine. So you can give credit to Hine for the entire hymn, How Great Thou Art. Many people consider the most powerful verse to be, and when I think that God, his son not sparing, sent him to die, I scarce can take it in. Verse number 3. The hymn moves from the creation verses, which begin it, talking about the forest and the aftermath of the thunderstorm with the sun, of the first 2 verses, and then the third verse it moves to the cross. It moves to one of redemption. Hine reminds us that the greatness of God is not merely his power through the thunderstorm, his amazement at the cross, and his willingness to love sinners and to send Christ. I know through my 30 years of being a music minister, there were 3 hymns that were the most that people requested for us to sing. One would be Amazing Grace, of course. One would be It Is Well With My Soul. And the last would be How Great Thou Art. Those 3 hymns. I would say How Great Thou Art was probably second. It Is Well, How Great Thou Art, and Amazing Grace in that order.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Hymns that heal. Subscribe.
So the bottom line is Boberg wrote the poem, but Hine wrote the hymn. And it's taken such an interesting path to get to where we are today. From the Swedish poet and pastor Carl Boberg, who wrote the original poem that became the inspiration for verses 1 and 2, to Hine's missionary work, to where he heard verses 1 and 2 and paraphrased them, rewrote them as his first 2 verses. And then verse 3 and verse 4, which he picked up doing missionary work in England and in Russia. The hymn became very popular in the United States when George Beverly Shea sang it at the 1954 or 57, somewhere around in there, New York Billy Graham crusade. The crusade went 100 nights. It is said that he sang How Great Thou Art 99 of those 100 nights. So the hymn went from total obscurity to a phenomena, to where most Americans had picked up on the hymn and learned the hymn within just a matter of months, based on Shea's rendition at the Billy Graham crusade in New York City at Madison Square Garden in the mid-50s. Again, the poem was written in 1885 by Carl Boberg. The original language was Swedish. The original title was O Stuart Good. The English adaptation by Stuart K. Hine, I would call it more than an adaptation, popularized worldwide through the Billy Graham Crusades, and now it's around 141 years old today, and congregations are still singing it. So today, as you have your coffee, remember this line from the song, "Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee, how great thou art, from the refrain. Join me next time for coffee and a hymn.
Before the noise, before the day, let an old hymn lead the way. Coffee warm and truth within. That's how mornings should begin.